Hello and welcome to Sew Amelia, my YouTube channel where I talk all about making a handmade wardrobe for me and my children. Welcome to this week where I'm going to share my plans for sewing in November. First of all, I just want to say such a massive thank you to all of you who watched and commented on my last video. It means so much to know that you're enjoying the videos. I love creating them, so it's nice to know that you're enjoying them too. Thank you so much to those of you who leave comments. It's lovely to chat with you in the comments below and hear all about what you're making and sewing. I really enjoy those discussions with you. So if you're new to my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, please do subscribe, as it really helps my channel to grow, and to know that you are subscribing helps to keep motivating me to make videos. It is November already. This year has flown by and I can't quite believe that we are in the countdown to Christmas. So having said the C word, I have got a few secret plans this month for presents and things, which I don't want to talk about on here in case they happen to watch the video, but I will be sharing those with you in January once they are gifted. So I just have a few plans for myself and for my children this month, alongside those other makes that I'm going to be getting on with in the background too. The first thing that I would like to make this month is the Camden Pinafore by Nina Lee Patterns. Now, if you've been here a few times before, you'll know that I really like Nina Lee patterns. Now, I'm actually wearing the Camden Pinafore today. This is a version that I made previously in a corduroy from Felicity Fabrics, and actually I bought a black Cupro lining fabric from them as well, which I lined the entire bodice and skirt with. It's a lovely one to wear. I do enjoy it, although I have found this version is slightly on the short side. So my measurements are a bust of 36 inches, a waist of 30 inches, and my hips are 41 inches. And so I fit in Nina Lee Patterns in a size 10 for my bust, a 12 for my waist, and between a 12 and 14 for my hips. This was the first Nina Lee pattern that I made, and what I did was I cut a size 12 and made a small bust adjustment. Now, I'm not completely happy with the fit. I mean, this is fine, but I want to take out some of this excess fabric up here over my bust. And so what I think I will do this time, which I also did in the Q dress that I made by Nina Lee Patterns, is to simply cut a size 10 in the bodice, grade it out to the 12 just at the waist seam here, which worked really well in the Q dress. So I think that will work better than the small bust adjustment in terms of just taking out some of this excess fabric up here. So the Nina Lee pattern comes as both a pinafore dress and as a skirt. Now, I haven't made the skirt yet, and I did think maybe I would make the skirt this time instead of the pinafore, but I find the pinafore to be such a versatile pattern, and I wear it all the time with tops underneath or with shirts and blouses. And in fact, I am noticing that I've got quite a few blouses in my wardrobe that I'm not wearing because they don't seem to go with this particular lovely deep red colour. So I thought I would quite like to just make the pinafore again and make it in a plain colour so that it goes with a few more of the blouses and shirts that I have in my wardrobe. So the fabric that I'm going to make this in this month is this chambray fabric from Minerva. Now, I bought this quite some time ago and it sat in my stash, and I would really like to get it used up. It's a lovely weight and not too heavy, and I think it will just be really nice as a Nina Lee Camden Pinafore without being too heavy. And it's a nice plain denim colour, which will, I think, go with a lot of the blouses in my wardrobe. Now, when I bought that fabric, I also bought a lining fabric from Minerva, just a very simple, inexpensive lining fabric, which I think goes with the denim quite nicely. Not that you'll see it, but I like to know that it matches. So yes, I will be using that to line the bodice. I don't think I'll bother lining the skirt this time though. So the Camden Pinafore is a fully lined dress with princess seamed bodice and really interesting pocket details on the skirt. It is fitted at the waistband, and then it's slightly more sort of A-line skirt over the hips, which is a shape that I really like. I do cycle a lot to school and things, and so I need to make clothes that I feel comfortable cycling in when I'm doing the school run. Now, I did test this one out this morning when we had a cycle today, and it's fine over leggings, but it is a little short. So for my next version, I will be adding a couple of inches to the hem. I'm going to amend the pattern slightly and just add a little bit more volume to the A-line skirt. I think it will be fine in the chambray fabric because it is light, so I think it will sit quite nicely. I think it would just be a better fit for me with my lifestyle and getting on and off the bike if the skirt just has a little bit more volume to it, just to make it a bit more easy to get around in and to give me a little bit more length as well. The Camden Pinafore comes in sizes 6 to 20. Nina Lee is extending her size range and a lot of her patterns have been extended, but unfortunately this one hasn't yet. So it still just comes in the size 6 to 20. So the size 6 is a bust of 32 inches, a waist of 24 inches, and hips of 33.5 inches. And the size 20 is a bust of 46 inches, a waist of 38 inches, and hips of 47.5 inches. So as I said, I will be making the size 10 graded to the size 12 at the waist this time. And then I'll make the size 12 skirt as I did before because this is a good fit for the skirt. I just need to add some length to it. Now my second make for November is a pattern that has very recently been released and I couldn't resist. And I've already seen so many beautiful versions being sewn up on Instagram. And that is the Friday Pattern Company Patina blouse. Now I really love this pattern. It's got a very interesting collar detail and then it's a button down front blouse. You can either make it with short sleeves or long sleeves which have a placket and a cuff. I also really like this pattern because it has a back yoke and I find that that works really well for me as I do have quite a narrow back. The pattern suggests that you use light to mid-weight wovens and I'm going to use a fabric that was gifted to me by Minerva in return for a blog post. And it's this cotton poplin here. Now I really like the colours in this, but I think I was expecting the blue to be slightly more navy than it is. It's a slightly brighter blue. However, I think it will go really nicely with the denim chambray that I'm using for my Camden Pinafore. So that's great. I think this will go with that and then I'll be able to wear it. So this is a very pretty fabric, nice standard cotton poplin kind of weight, but I think it will hold that collar detail of the shirt really nicely. Now Friday Pattern Company draft for 5 foot 6 inches and a B cup, which is perfect because I am 5 foot 5 inches and I am a B cup, so that drafting does suit me really well. However, I do often find that Friday Pattern Company patterns are slightly on the oversized side of things, which is not a fit that I prefer, so I do tend to size down when I make their patterns. They are a brilliant size inclusive company and this pattern is no different. It goes from an extra small to a 7XL, which is fantastic. The extra small is a bust of 32 to 33 inches, a waist of 24 to 25 inches, and hips of 34 to 35 inches. The 7X is a bust of 59 to 60 inches, a waist of 52 to 53 inches, and hips of 62 to 63 inches. Now again, I'm a bust 36 inches, waist 30 inches and hips 41 inches. So I fall into a medium for my bust and a large for my waist and hips. However, when you look at the finished garment measurements for this blouse, it does look like there is a good amount of ease in the patterns. And I normally make a size small in Friday Pattern Company patterns, which has always fitted me really well. And when I looked at the finished garment measurements for that size, it looks fine. There is enough ease over the bust and the waist and the hips that will work just fine, I think, for me. So that is the Patina blouse, which I plan to make in a size small. The last plan that I have for myself this month is a bit of a Christmassy make. Now, I actually bought this fabric at the very beginning of this year when I saw it at Guthrie Ghani. It's a cotton jersey fabric and it's called Rhubarb Dashes, and this is it here. I just love that colour. I think it will look really nice as a Christmassy dress. I'm not sure if this is still available on the Guthrie Ghani website because I did buy it at the beginning of the year, but if I can find a link to it somewhere else, I'll pop that in the description box below. So my plans for this fabric is to turn it into the Sew Over It Georgie dress. Now they describe this as a chic everyday knit dress. It has a wrap top which is pleated into the side seams and you can make it with either a 3/4 circle skirt or a gathered skirt. Now they do suggest that the 3/4 circle skirt is for heavier knits like Ponte Roma and the gathered skirt is for lighter cotton jerseys and viscose jerseys. However, I prefer the 3/4 circle skirt, and this is a good weight of cotton jersey. So I plan to just put some elastic tape into the bottom of the bodice before I sew the skirt on, just to give it a bit of extra support, but I'm going to make the 3/4 circle skirt for this one. So when I bought the fabric, I wasn't sure exactly which pattern I was going to make, so I did only order 2 meters of it. Now it is 150 centimeters wide, so it's got a nice amount of width to it, and I'm hoping that I will be able to get this dress out of the fabric. However, I may not be able to, and so I have already thought of a few ways that I can make the pattern fit the amount of fabric that I have. Now the pattern is drafted with long wrist length sleeves. I think I'll probably shorten those to elbow length sleeves. It's a length I prefer anyway, especially if you're out and about having drinks at Christmas time. It can get a bit warm, so I think I would prefer to just have elbow length sleeves, and then I can always pop a cardigan over the top. Now the Georgie dress comes in a size 6 to 20 and size 18 to 30, so that's good that it's a more inclusive size range. Size 6 is a bust of 31 inches, a waist of 24 inches, and hips of 34 inches. Then the size 30 is a bust of 57 inches, a waist of 50 inches, and hips of 60 inches. Now I'm going to make a size 12, which is for a bust of 37 inches, and then a waist of 30 inches. So that's great for my waist, and it's slightly bigger than my bust. However, it is made from jersey, and when you look at the finished measurements, it suggests that it's about 34 inches over the bust, and so that will be fine. I don't particularly like it being too tight over the bust anyway, so I think the size 12 will work perfectly. Now apologies, because this is now turning into a bit of a Christmassy video, which I didn't initially plan, but as you'll know if you watched my videos before, I do love making smocked dresses for my daughter, and I do like making one for her birthday, and if I can, one for Christmas, or at least a nice festive dress for her to wear. And I need to get started on that earlier than December, or it won't be finished in time. So I have a really fun plan for her Christmas dress this year, and I'm going to make one of the collars etc. yoke dresses. Now you can see it comes in 6 different variations, which is wonderful, and it comes in sizes 1 to 8. So that's amazing in terms of the number of different looks you can get from the same pattern, and it has got a good age range of ages 1 to 8. So that's really, really fantastic. And I am planning to make this view here, which is view 3, with a simple yoke dress and this lovely smocked collar detail. So what I'm going to use for the dress is this gorgeous cotton velvet that I bought from Minerva. Now I'm really excited about this. It just screams Christmas, this cotton velvet, and I can just see us all snuggled up in front of the fire reading books in my Georgie dress and her beautiful smocked dress. Now I haven't washed this fabric yet because I'm a bit worried about how exactly to wash cotton velvet. I assume I'm just going to wash it at 30 degrees, but I hope it doesn't affect the nap of the fabric. So if you've got any advice on that, do leave me a comment below before I go and do some research on Google and just make sure I don't ruin this lovely fabric. So that's the fabric for the main dress. And then I'm just going to sew the collar in a plain cotton batiste fabric, which I have ordered. It hasn't arrived yet, but it's just a simple white cotton fabric, which I will then pleat and smock. And I plan to smock that with a white thread just to keep it really simple. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to edge that collar piece with some entredaux, which is this here. And then I have some lace edging to go with that, and that will be the edge of the collar. So hopefully you can see that on the fabric. So I think that will look really pretty for Christmas, just simple red and white. Now Christmas in the UK is not the warmest, so I wasn't sure about the short sleeves. So what I plan to do is to use this vintage pattern which my mother gave me, that she used for me, and it has a long sleeve piece in this particular dress here, and that's just a gathered sleeve at the sleeve head, and then you just add a casing to the sleeve so it makes an elasticated sleeve with a little frill at the wrist. So I am going to try and add that long sleeve to the yoke dress because I just think she might need a little bit more warmth at Christmas, and I don't necessarily want to be putting a cardigan over that lovely dress with that big collar. Now the last thing in my plans for November are some Christmas pajamas, because we all need Christmas pajamas. Now my family has a little tradition where we celebrate St. Nicholas Day, and on the morning of St. Nicholas Day we leave, or St. Nicholas leaves, coins and Christmas pajamas for the children. Now that's on about the 6th of December. which is nice because then they get to wear their Christmas pyjamas in the lead up to Christmas, and it just helps us to really get into that festive season and to enjoy the pyjamas in that run up to Christmas. So over at First for Fabrics I saw the cutest cotton jerseys, and I don't normally match my children up in the same sort of styles of clothing, but I couldn't resist this time. So I found these 3 cotton jerseys in slightly different colourways with the cutest mice on them. So I'll hold those up to the camera. Hopefully you can see those Christmas mice, they're so cute. So yes, I got it in the navy colourway, and that's for my middle son. And then this dark forest green colourway, that's for my oldest son. And then I got it in this burgundy colourway, and that is for my daughter. So for my daughter, I'm planning to make the Bellamy nightgown. She really likes nighties and nightgowns, and so I will try and make this into a nightgown for her as opposed to pyjamas. And I found a pattern online which is a very simple A-line dress with a ruffle at the bottom. So that's the one that I plan to make for her. I think I'll probably make it in view D, but I will shorten it slightly so it's sort of about mid-calf length for her, as it's a bit easier for her to run around in if it's slightly shorter. She can always wear her slippers on her feet if she's a little bit cold. Now this looks like a great pattern, very simple and straightforward, good instructions, and it comes in sizes 18 months to 12 years. So I do really like it when a children's pattern has a nice age range, as it's one that I hopefully will be able to use again and again for her as she grows. Now, if you haven't yet followed Rachel at The French Seams, you really must go and check her channel out. I'll put a link to it below in the description box. She makes the most beautiful things for herself, and she makes gorgeous clothes for her boys as well. And I always really enjoy watching her videos. So do go and check her out if you haven't already. But one of the things she made for her little boys was the Made by Me Kids Classic Pyjamas, and I thought it looked like such a lovely pyjama pattern for children. So I did buy that one, thanks Rachel, and I'm really looking forward to making that pattern for my little boys. I did make a different pattern before, but I just found that over time the neckline is quite wide for my boys, and so it's just sort of stretching out a little bit over their shoulders, and the trousers didn't have cuffing, and my boys really like ankle cuffs on their trousers. So I thought I would try this pattern and see how it compares to the one that I've previously made, and then I can decide on a favourite, or the boys can decide on their favourite. So this is just a simple pattern with simple pyjama top, which has cuffing on the wrists and cuffing on the pyjama trousers, which are also just a simple trouser style, finished with an elasticated waist. Now I've got some of this red cuffing left over from when I made their dragon pyjamas, and that should go beautifully with all 3 actually fabrics, although I don't need to use cuffing for my daughter's nightgown. So that will work really well with the mice. It matches their little hats and jumpers perfectly. Again, that's a pattern with a great size range. It comes in ages 2 to 10 years, so I should get another few years out of that for my oldest boy, and a great many years for my younger boy as well. So I'm really looking forward to making that pattern for them. I loved seeing the version that Rachel made for her little boy, and so I'm really excited to get started on that for them. So those are my plans for November. A few things for myself, and then a few Christmassy makes just to get ready for the season ahead. And then, like I said, a few gifts and little things I'm planning to make to give away to family and friends. Because my family live abroad, I always get started on my Christmas makes in November, just to give me time to get those posted away to them so that they can receive them in time for Christmas. Do let me know in the comment box below what you're getting sewn up for November, and if you're making anything Christmassy, do share that too. It's always great to hear of new patterns and new ideas for gifts. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. That would really help my channel to grow and for other people to find the video as well. So I hope you have a lovely November filled with lots of happy sewing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!